big good win here, and eventually we will like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. So this is in relation to the whole Nick Cannon thing that I covered a couple days back. And Terry Crews, who I've been following for since he started speaking out against Black Lives Matter, for the Marxist, terrorist, racist group that they are, the black supremacist group that they are, while claiming that white people have all the power and privilege, that it's openly okay for people like Nick Cannon to come out and make racist, flat out racist statements saying that white people lack soul and stuff because the pigment of their skin color, that they are lesser than us because the melanin in their pigment, and to say that they're likened it to animals, that they're savages, that they're murderous, rapists, and all that, all because of their skin color. And it's only the anti-Semitic stuff that got them in trouble. All the white stuff, all the anti-white stuff was just glossed over. Really, it was just glossed over. And Bad Terry Crews is like, hey man, I warned you guys. And there's more than just Terry Crews. There's this guy Zuby, who is also against what Nick Cannon had to say. We're going to listen to him real fast, because this is the point I keep making, that anybody can be racist. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. Any race can be racist, and Black Lives Matter is full of racists. Right now, we're going to listen to Zuby real fast, and then we're going to discuss some of this Terry Crews, Nick Cannon stuff, and the fact that Nick Cannon was tweeting, borderline suicidal stuff, just to play that victim card even further, because the media, Hollywood, they have encouraged black people to play the victim and act like they're old everything, and like white people just have inherent privilege. But it's not the white people who are able to say anything they want that's overtly and openly racist 24/7, around the clock, all over the news, mainstream news, TV shows, movies, interviews from celebrities, all that. It's black people who are allowed to say all the racist stuff imaginable, while white people are constantly shamed and shunned and degraded for their skin color. All these books on the shelves about how white people should feel white guilt and all that. They should be ashamed of themselves. They should give up all their belongings and everything. They pay to go to these colleges that teach them to hate themselves. Who really has the privilege and power, and who's really the oppressed people? So let's show this clip from Zuby.
To Nick Cannon's statements yesterday, because I was critical of him, as I rightly should be. I'm still highly critical of them. I stand by every single thing that I said. And but a lot of people are angry at me now. A lot of people are angry at me. Lots of irate people in my email inbox, in my Twitter mentions, on my Instagram, in my DMs. A lot of angry black people not pleased that I don't stand for anti-white racism. So firstly, let's talk about definitions. Getting a lot of people saying, man, you don't know the definition of racism. Racism is power plus racial prejudice. No, it's not. It's just racial prejudice. It's racial prejudice. If you think that you are superior to somebody based on your race or your ethnicity, or you discriminate against someone, or you are prejudiced against someone based on their skin color or their ethnicity, then that is racism. Look in a freaking dictionary. Right? You're telling me to educate myself? No, you educate yourself. Telling me to read a book? No, you read a book. Go grab a dictionary, look up the definition. You will see no mention of power. You will see no mention of white people or black people. Why? Because anyone can be racist against anyone. Black people can be racist against Asians. Asians can be racist against Jews. Jews could be racist against white people. It doesn't matter. It can run in all directions, and it's wrong in all directions. If racism is wrong, then racism is wrong, period. It's not okay to do against white people. It's not okay to do against whatever group you think has the institutional power, or whatever bullcrap you learned in your sociology class. Stop being a muppet, stop being an idiot, and just stop being a jerk. Why are people... Is this really the hill you want to die on? This is really the hill you want to die on? Really, racial superiority. Talking about people being genetically deficient and not having compassion because they lack melanin is really what you want to defend? Look, guys, you can't fight racism with racism. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. A lot of people don't want equality. It looks like they just want revenge now, and it's a really ugly look. Really ugly look. You don't fight racism with racism. You don't fight bigotry with bigotry. Shout out to everybody who already understands it. Those of you who don't, you educate yourself and you read a book. Pete.
And I'd like to applaud this guy because everything he said is 100% true and on point, and you gotta love the man for saying it. Because people have gone nuts, and Nick Cannon obviously is nuts. All the things he said. And another thing is this stuff here. Even Zuby calls it out. According to these weirdos, everything that could make an individual or community successful is an example of whiteness and white culture. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but you should really look it up, because anything that is positive, anything that, like, it's just absurd. The levels this has gone to, and it needs to stop. It really needs to come down. People need to come down on this BLM movement for what it's doing, what it's trying to do, realizing who backs it. The Democratic Party. They're the ones who back all this chaos and destruction because they want a different kind of America. One much more similar to China, where they just round up people of a certain ethnicity or religion that they don't like, and they take care of them. Is that the kind of country we all want to live in? So, Terry Crews, among Zuby, also called Nick Cannon out for his racist statements. And they are really racist. I don't understand why it's the anti-Semitic stuff, just the anti-Semitic stuff that got him in trouble, because the stuff he said about white people, it's just, there's no forgiveness here. I mean, I can forgive him for a moment of idiocracy, but he needs to come out and they need to not overlook what he said, the anti-white stuff that he said. That needs to be pointed out. It's time for all the anti-white stuff that people are constantly running their mouths about openly on live TV, on and interviews, celebrities, and all these people, and Democrats. It's time for all these people to be called out. It's time for this to not be acceptable. You want to classify things as hate crimes and hate speech? Well, it's a two-way street. Yeah, it goes every direction. Like Zuby was saying, racism can flow any direction. It can flow any direction. And this dude here, Nick Cannon, and people came at Terry Crews too for him calling out this kind of stuff. People have came at Terry Crews like he's in the wrong because he's not defending Nick Cannon. He's not defending Nick Cannon. Here's some replies to him. You are going so hard against Nick Cannon, but when you fell, no black person will have your back. Well, I disagree. I'm pretty sure that a lot of black people will have Terry Crews' back, and not just black people will have his back, but people of all color will have his back. Terry Crews responded to this user saying, this user writing, when I was young, I was never afraid of the KKK. He added, it was people like you, the threats, the intimidation, discouraging free thought, and the insult of acting white. Crews concluded, my heart breaks because your behavior only reveals you don't know how powerful you are. So, and there's another thing to be said about, the black community and the racism. Black on black crime is higher than any other, and there is sub-racism amongst the black community. You have these black people that accuse others that want to educate themselves of trying to act white because they want to educate themselves. You have black people going against other black people just because somebody's got a lighter or darker skin tone. They show hatred towards each other. I mean, there is all kinds of problems in the black community in itself, and no crime is higher than black on black crime. And that's really, if Black Lives Matter, that's the type of stuff we need to be looking at. It's not white supremacy. That is just a very fading thing. Back in June, Crews came under fire for writing, "Defeating white supremacy without white people create black supremacy. Equality is the truth." And he has taken a lot of backlash for this. He said this is the hill he's going to die on, because he's firmly standing his ground and he's not backing down. He's calling these people out for who they are, what they are. And Nick Cannon is just obviously so racist. He really needs to be educated. He really needs to take the time to step away and educate himself. But Nick Cannon, he has faced scrutiny from all sides after erupting into an anti-Semitic rant on his podcast. But see, that's all the articles keep pointing out, is that he went into an anti-Semitic rant. They don't point out all the anti-white stuff. So Cannon's class on June 30th, things came to a head this past week, with Viacom severing ties with Wild and Out hosts and numerous peers condemning him. Cannon ultimately apologized, but that led to even more backlash from those who supported him as he was being canceled. See, it's just hate fueled by hate. So Cannon apologizing. The people that supported his hate speech turned against him. They were fueled by hatred for him apologizing. And as you can see, cancel culture, it's just toxic. And this BLM movement, this whole BLM thing, it's all just toxic. It's toxic. It's revenge for the sake of revenge, even if there isn't even a reason to get revenge. All this controversy weighed heavily on Cannon as he revealed he considered dying by suicide over the matter. The 39-year-old comedian, and I'm pretty sure that he didn't really consider committing suicide. I think this guy was really playing the victim card, virtue signaling. He was really playing the victim card, just trying to make people feel sorry for him. The 39-year-old comedian spoke out earlier Sunday morning, paying tribute to friend Ryan Bowers, who had just taken his own life. It apparently served as a wake-up call to Cannon, who was on the brink himself. Ahead of hearing the news, his associate passing, Cannon says he was dealing with a dark contemplation about continuing his physical existence on this planet. However, Bowers' passing put things into perspective. And that's the guy there they're referring to. But just when it goes on to talk about how he just really this whole thing, it just needs to end. I mean, there are comments here from him about the passing of said individual and all that, and I really think that because this stuff here, the confession from the former Nickelodeon star comes just after fans had been fearing the worst for him. Early Friday morning, Cannon vented about his own community turning on him for his apology and ended with the phrase, "Enjoy Earth." A few minutes later, he pinned another tweet that read, "Y'all can have this planet, I'm out." Fans quickly reached out with concerns, but it ultimately seems that it was the loss of Bowers that provided the perspective change Cannon needed. So I really just think this guy was trying to play the victim card to make people lay off him, because Hollywood encourages that type of thing. They do. Hollywood has been encouraging that type of behavior, that all blacks are victims and stuff like that. And that's really the whole BL movement, that blacks are victims and they need reparations, they need revenge. It's really about that they just want to tear down America and change it all, because the leaders of the Black Lives Foundation are a Marxist group that want to dismantle the nuclear family structure and all that. But as you can see, when Cannon apologized for his behavior, they still They turned on him. They turned on him for apologizing. The cancel culture is always like, oh, you gotta apologize for saying this hateful thing or that hateful thing. And usually when people do, they still don't lay off them. This time, cancel culture was supporting what he said. And when he apologized for it, they turned on him to eat him. Can't you see how this is just an endless toxic cycle? Cancel culture needs to go. All this anti-white stuff needs to be condemned, not just anti-Semitic stuff, not just stuff against minorities or women. This anti-white stuff. If we're gonna play that card, then you need to stop letting that. If we're gonna play the card, if it's okay for everybody to openly hate whites and all that all the time, then it should be okay for anybody to openly hate anybody, or everybody, or all the anti-white stuff should be condemned, just like all the other stuff. Yeah, you can't be a hypocrite and play it both ways. But well, apparently you can, because society's been running this way for a couple of years now. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on Terry Crews. Terry Crews is awesome. Zuby is awesome. Zuby and Terry Crews, these guys are awesome. But people like Nick Cannon and the people that try to eat him alive when he apologized, those people are far worse, because they actively condemn anybody for saying bad things. Cancel culture always condemns people for saying bad things, but in this case, he apologizes for saying the bad things. And what do you know? Oh, they just get mad at him instead of the people that fired him, and that's the way things go. And it's just really ridiculous that this is America right now. This is America. This is what America has become. Every day it seems like we inch closer and closer to some country that's just horrible and terrifying for its citizens, such as China. Anyways, like, subscribe, share. If a good one here. Eventually we will stay awesome. Rock on.